The humans are one of the oldest and most stable species in the galaxy. In school, I learned that they left their home star system when the universe was a measly 13.7 billion years old. By 15 billion years, they had sampled most sections of the galaxy, and found only a few other sentient species. Many of the other older sentients have died or evolved into forms unrecognizable. The humans seem to be obsessed with their primitive form. Other species, including my own, continue evolving in some way once they reach interstellar status. Usually, several subspecies emerge to live on different planets and in space stations, but not humans. They only live on planets that are similar to their home, and where there are differences, they go through great trouble to stay in shape. They have whole sectors of industry and science devoted solely to maintaining their Terran form. This obsession with the human form seems to come from their mythology. Some older religious sects would say that man was made in God's image. Even the non-religious of them seem to think subconsciously that the human shape is the peak of evolution. Though they have long since formally disregarded this idea as unscientific, and more importantly as undiplomatic, many seem to continue to hold it deep down. It is no wonder that they built the stasis arc. What other species would have the zeal to keep so many lower lifeforms in a state of suspended evolution? Even before they assembled most of the galaxy, the humans were already beginning to build their arc. It is said that it took over 8,000 star cycles to complete its main body. I am one of the few mutantur who have been able to view the arc in person. I was selected for a research internship on board, and as an introduction, am being taken along the public tour of a fraction of the facilities. The arc is an enormous vessel, by far the largest in the known universe. It is well over 50,000 kilometers long, and is said to have a mass of a medium-sized planet. It is difficult to view it all at once. My 4 eyes ached as I struggled to view the entire structure. It has the shape of many stacked cylinders, all rotating at different speeds. I spoke with the tour guide about this. They told me it was to induce the different gravity needed for each section. Inside the cylinders is a maze of habitats. Some are enormous, others are stacked together in shelves on tiny trays. The guide told me that the largest creature kept is the Stark's Gelator. Stark's is a gas giant in the WASP-43 system. Since humans conquered the galaxy first, their naming classification is considered the standard. We were able to view a deceased Gelator in a lab. The humans were dissecting it to make sure no major genetic changes had occurred. It was an enormous beast. The guide said that it had floated at the top of the atmosphere at Stark's. It had a roughly half-spherical main body. There were no discernible organs on the creature's mucus-coated skin. When alive, the mucus was as thick as a human is tall, though much of this layer was already removed in the decaying process. We were shown live videos of other Gelator being kept in a different part of the ship. They seemed almost like thick clouds with just the faintest outline of life. In their long tendrils, they were still being eaten by the various symbiotic species that live on the Gelator. To undertake this massive project, humans had to maintain an entire ecosystem around these floating giants. They had to engineer an entire natural food cycle around their creatures. Everything from symbiotic fungus and food sources to predators and dangerous bacteria. Every precise detail of a population of a chosen creature was studied for decades, often centuries. Never mind the millions of cubic meters of gaseous material needed for the creature's environment. And all of this was just for one of the thousands of species preserved. As we left the lab, the guide began explaining that the humans will roll into a star system. It is still a closely kept secret how they managed to get such a massive vessel to warp speed, and then send out drones and eventually manned missions to study the local ecology of one or two of the planets. Once they feel that they have every detail accounted for, they will take a pregnant creature from the wild and try to maintain it. They of course do several tests with the creatures in captivity before moving on to a new system. Apparently, they have sampled from over 12,000 star systems since the Ark was first built. There are just under 11,500 main species kept in perfect conditions in the Ark, with many millions more to support food and bacterial cycles around the main species. As my guide explained all of this, we were shuttled along the maze of habitats. We passed savannas, mountain ranges, labs, and lakes with terrific speed. The tour continued for nearly 3 sleep cycles. The vehicle had ample opportunities to get off and rest with the various passengers. We were even served some of the human staple foods to try, such as rice and potatoes. The potatoes were odd in my big mouth, but the rice was delicious. We also made frequent stops to view specific habitats or species, such as the gelato in the laboratory. On one particular stop, the guy was explaining something about how the humans had went about conquering their own planet first. The species we were all gazing at, though, had caught my attention too much, so I wasn't paying close attention. It was a small, little furry thing. At the front of its face were 4 octagonal eyes. It had 4 limbs to support it crawling on the ground and 3 hands to interact with the world. The thing seemed so familiar to me. It appeared almost cute. Suddenly, though, I watched as it unclipped its jaw and pounced on a nearby smaller being that was apparently its dinner. Just at that moment, the guy said, "Oh yes, by the way, this is species 849 Dewey, known locally as the ossitor." Yes, the ossitor. That was why it looked so familiar. This little beast had been a predator to my ancestors. Well, her ancestors had been to my ancestors at least. They seemed so small and helpless now, but a pack of them could hunt and kill an early Mutanor if we departed from the safety of our early caves. Of course, that was before we had got up on our quadrupedal legs and learned to throw 3 sharp spears at a pack of them. I spoke up to the guide, repeating my thoughts aloud. Yes, this is an Okisaur. I know these very well. These little fellows may not look like much, but they were fearsome in a pack. And look here, they still are. Just as I said it, the one Okisaur called out, and dozens of her companions rose out of some nearby holes in the rough soil. Our party was safe in the shuttle, but the smaller prey in the vicinity ran wild. We Mutantor have long since ridden Muotine of these beasts, but look, you humans have truly conquered them. You have truly beaten them and reduced them among the species. The guy smiled softly at me. I had been studying human facial patterns, so I recognized the emotion as happiness, though something about it seemed off. My textbooks had a different kind of smile in them. The guy's smile was strange, not unhappy, but not fully without sorrow either. I cannot exactly place why, but some cross-species connection told me that smile came with asterisks. He replied, yes, most Okisaurs went extinct about 20,000 star cycles within the emergence of the Mutantor people. The Arca visited the Luiten star system about 50,000 years before the emergence of sapient Mutators had picked up these creatures to preserve. How lucky you all are to still have a living record of your ancient predators. We humans have many great things, but we cannot get that back. We continued on the tour for another 2 sleep cycles. Once complete, I met with a few of my new human colleagues and ate with them. For humans, eating together is a special sign of friendship. I am set to officially begin my internship on the Ark in a few sleep cycles. They have graciously allowed me some time to explore the ship leisurely. I hope to be able to tell you more of my time on the Ark in the coming time.